Alrighty, good morning everybody. It's Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. Chugging along here. Half the year almost gone already. Kind of blowing my mind. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened here. Now, I do want to bring up the higher time frames and just kind of point out, once again, our two major areas of resistance up above us here as price was coming back up from the recovering from the sell-off. Two major areas of resistance right here. In fact, our roadmap level at 51.29 was the top of that area. Came right to it, got this really big 100-point sell-off, more than 100 points. Then we get support right around the 61.8 retrace of the leg, right? This is right where we have all the daily 4-hour hourly bullish signals giving us clues, in fact, weekly clues as well for the bounce, right? We get the push, we get the retrace to the 61.8 nearly perfectly, and then we bounce out. And where do we find resistance yesterday or on Monday and on Friday? Right at our next major area of resistance. And now here we are with another just about 110 point pullback. It's just, I don't know, it just blows me away. I just bring it up because I come to the charts and I just go, it's kind of unbelievable that the two major zones we expected to be major resistance were exactly where we've got more than 100 point correction in the market. Pretty cool stuff. So let's look at what happened here yesterday. Obviously, we could not get up through our pocket of resistance, 50 to 57 there. In fact, right at the bottom end is 51.50, our roadmap level. And all they could do is kind of peek through it, and then we held just before the Globex session going into yesterday morning, right? So we've got this big sell-off. Let's take a look at the details of that on the short time frames here on the 512. So let's jump on back to the open yesterday. And another morning where we come in and the bulls try to push the market up and they come right to the holy orange power level here. And for quite literally 5 or 6 tests, just could not get through it, right? And so right out of the open yesterday, for the first hour, it would have looked like a lot of chop, right? Because it wasn't quite doing anything. But I think the main thing you should have noticed after the first hour of the open is the bulls just did not have enough strength to even get through the first, or at least that roadmap level, the hopeful, in that first hour. And then this right here, my friends, is that textbook thing that I talk about pretty often, and that is we make a high in the market, the bulls try to come back and test into that high, and they fail a point or two in front of it. Right? So there's that final attempt to come back up and it fails literally a point in front of our roadmap level there. And then, in fact, if you would have just shorted Hopeful here, you would have been in this all morning, never would have gotten a break through that area, and you could have captured this whole, what was it, 60, 70 point sell-off yesterday. So we held Hopeful, again, not a surprising situation. How many mornings do we see rotations directly off Hopeful? And then finally in a last attempt, and then we get the breakdown, right? And then from there, it's just a pretty aggressive sell-off. You can see that the bulls couldn't even pull the price back into the fast-moving average for this first sell-off, right? It was just kind of a straight line down. And then they found support, interestingly enough, 1 tick in front of our roadmap level for the first bounce after the market started to sell off, right? And then from there, continued to sell off. Now, we found a little bit of a sideways chop within it there for a little while, right? The bulls tried to recover and even tried to hold the roadmap level to the tick, many instances here, and then finally continued on its merry way lower. Again, great opportunities to short the back end of the 200 moving average. Did it work every time it tested the 200 to the way down? No. But in a lot of instances, you had great opportunities. And the main ones that I would have liked also had those beautiful bearish divergences on that second peak higher into the 200, right? So bearish divergence into the 200 and then the SWAT. And then here, bearish divergence off the test of the 200, that slightly higher high, peak above, and fail right off of it. And then even right here, right? So there were great opportunities as the market was continuing to sell off to get short off the 200. And then at the end of the day, you can see it just continued going. They got through 50% of the last week there. And what happened? They came right back and kind of kissed it to the tick, to then continuing to the sell-off, and then came right back again and had to get another smooch in, touch the 50% of the previous day. And then here's the last hour of the extended futures trading, and you can see just kind of some chop in here. Nothing super sexy that happened there, but then just kind of went sideways right at the end of the day. Again, with that beautiful little kiss, that again, if you were watching the market and you were on the bearish side of things, you had a great opportunity to try a short off of there and capture another 20 points to the downside before the market closed. In fact, it was more than 20 points. If you look, if you got short at 76.5, it came all the way down to 51.50, right? So nearly a 25 point sell-off right at the end of the day. In fact, the market closed, tagged it, and then started to pull back again. So that brings us here into the overnight session and into the pre-market here this morning. And as you can see, just kind of a sideways chop session right now. They continued to try to pull price lower, and then coming into the open here, we're getting into this little micro bounce right now. So let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames